Hey there, Yinzers. Hey, friends. Double AP bringing you another episode of Indulge, the study of everything Pittsburgh. A couple of days ago, my friends, it was National Egg Day. Today, happy National Donut Day. That's right. Got some double D's right here. And down here in the South, in my area, it's just another, you remember growing up, the nostalgic history. You would take it for granted as Yinzers. We take for granted the mom and pop bakeries that we all grew up with. What a better way, a better day as Yinzologists to look back and appreciate the beautiful bakeries of Pittsburgh. I have some coffee. This coffee is special coffee that my daughter brought from Ethiopia. If y'all folks who know me, my daughter made it home safely and she brought back some amazing Ethiopian coffee. I think Ethiopia is the birthplace of the coffee bean. These coffee beans were white less than a week ago, and they roast the beans right in front of her. There's no special packaging. It hasn't been, you know, processed in any way. And I don't know how she got through customs, but I'm enjoying this Ethiopian coffee. And we're going to follow the instructions on the box. We're going to dunk, or you've got to dunk your donut. You've got to. Let's go. This is a good dunk. This donut's a good dunk. I like the heavy, I think this is a sour cream. So here's the thing. Donuts, they go back all the way back to ancient times, ancient civilizations. There's been record of, some sort of dough that was fried. So if you watched our National Egg video, we talked about the Dutch, German, Pennsylvania immigrants, and it was most likely those folks who continued to cook what they called their oily cakes and made them popular and kept the donut going. As far as the Lord of the Ring, the hole in the donut, that is a mystery. That is a mystery that I don't think anyone will ever find out where that originated, who came up with the actual donut hole where we end up with the beautiful munchkins, or what are they? The Timbits if you're from Canada. But the ring is a mystery. It was thrown into the fires of Mordor. You Yinzers are no strangers to the plethora of the plentiful bounty of bakeries in the Burg. Beautiful bakeries that were brought over by immigrants. They brought over their recipes, long, old school, old country traditions, and mom and pops started opening up bakeries. And we are going to set aside, there's another video to be made just with bread bakeries, right? So you've got the Breadworks, you've got Saloni's, you've got Mancini's. Bread bakeries themselves, they focus mainly on the loaf, right? Buns and rolls. And we're talking about bakeries that you'd go and get your donuts, your cookies, your birthday cakes, your wedding cakes, your celebration cakes, your pies, your tarts. We're going to stick to those types of bakeries. If you're new to the Burg, you're going to want to watch this video and get a grasp, get an understanding of the importance of bakeries and where to go to find them and what they mean to Yinzers. All right. So in this episode, we're going to stay away from the larger franchises that we all know and love, the Double D's, if you're from Canada, Tim Hortons, Krispy Kremes, Randy's, down here in the South, Duck Donuts. And if you're an old time Yinzer, you remember Mr. Donuts. There's one left in the US. But did you know Mr. Donut has turned into an Asian donut monopoly, like a corporate Philippines, Japan, Japanese love. There's like 900 locations, I think, in Japan alone for Mr. Donut. So that's a little weird. I don't know how that happened, but in the Asian market, Mr. Donut is the Dunkin' Donut here in America, and it's a crazy story. But the one bakery that I would like to start with is the official bakery. If you've ever watched a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game, you're going to sometimes hear the official bakery. And if you go down there to PPG Arena to the ice rink, I believe there is a bakery in the arena, and the official bakery for the Pittsburgh Penguins is Pastries a la carte. All right, down there on Route 51. It's a unique bakery for sure. Listen, you go down there, you're driving on 51. If you're not from the South Hills, I'm from the North Hills. If you're not from the South Hills and you're driving along 51, let me tell you something. It's not a bakery that stands out. If you blink, you're going to miss it, because here it's a section of that highway where you're kind of like your knuckles are clinched to the steering wheel, trying not to, because 51's a hot mess, right? So you're focused on the road. You're not looking around, you're not looking at all the shops and stores. And it's this tiny little shop right before you go down the hill to where there's like Harbor Freight, and there's that chicken joint. What else is down there? And then there's a Starbucks, all the stuff that's down there. There's even a Permanis down there, but it's right before you go down the hill at this tiny little bakery. It's so small, but when you go in there, it's very deceiving, and you'll see that they have a lot of baked goods. So I don't know where to begin. There's so many baking memories growing up as a kid. We had a lot of our grocers have wonderful bakeries. In our own town was Shop and Save, and you'd walk in, a little kid, they'd always spot you and hand your mom a cookie to hand to you, free cookies to the kids. My wife worked in a bakery, a family-owned bakery in the North Hills called Dutz's. You walk in, and then you could just smell the sugar and the bread and just that smell of a bakery. And then when our kids were growing up, we'd take them down. We lived in Bellevue, Lincoln Bakery, and their eyes would just be lit up watching. Oh, it's a lot like a deli. You go in, they have the deli meats. They have the glass counters, the glass cases, and just like a deli, you pull the number. You got to get your number, and they call your number out, and then you tell them what you want, and they fill that white box, and they fold that box so fast. And then the best part is that bakery string they hang from the ceiling, that string, and they take the string and they wrap that cardboard box up so fast. It's just it's a beautiful thing. Now, before there was a Cake Boss from Jersey, before there was the Great British Baking Show in Pittsburgh, in just about every township and borough, there was a bakery. And so you are a fortunate Yinzer if you still have one of these local high-end bakeries in your neighborhood that reflects the industrial roots of Pittsburgh, bringing in these immigrant influences of neighborhood European, German, Italian, Eastern European recipes, traditional recipes handed down, passed down generation to generation, baking with their own hands from scratch, decorating them in beautiful ways. And there's no surprise that the National Biscuit Company, Nabisco, opened their factory in 1918 on Penn Ave and East Liberty Boulevard, producing sweets and treats for many years. Later became known as Bakery Square. And then in the 1930s, there was this guy named Henry Mayer. He was known as Pittsburgh's Donut Man, delivering donuts, danishes, pecan rolls to restaurants and stores across neighborhoods like the Hill District, the Strip District, East Liberty, Oakland, downtown. Baking all the time, labor intensive, all throughout distributing these donuts during the Great Depression and beyond, paving the way for Pastries a la carte, the official bakery of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Bethel Bakery, Dutz's, Wexford and Allison Park, Potomac Bakery in Dormont, Third Space on Penn Ave, the Pie Shop in Ligonier, Patty's in White Oak, Lincoln in Bellevue, that sold to Prantles, Patty Cakes, Gene Marks down in Millville, Kretschmar's in Beaver, Oram's Donuts in Beaver Falls, Anthos and Castle Shannon, 5 Points Artisan Bake Shop, 350 Degree Bakery, Minerva's Keys-Port, Ultimate Pastry Shop in Sewickley, Wildflower in New Ken, Gus's Goodies in Weirton, West Virginia, White Rabbit in Greensboro, Mazziotti's in Lower Burrell, May's Donuts in Newcastle, Barton's Bakery in Elizabeth, Penny's in Butler, Enrico's Biscotti's Diner Strip, Jackson Bloomfield, Better Made Donut, Crafton Heights, Harris Bakery in Brownsville Road, Grandview Bakery in Mount Washington, Stockland's Bake Shop in Penn Hills. I could go on and on. Now, a little bit about Prantles Bakery. It's a German-influenced bakery. They are famous for the burnt almond torte. They have the classic cake donuts and the lighter Danish ones. Now, if you want a heavyweight champion of a donut, you want to head to Oram's Donut Shop in Beaver Falls, 45 minutes from the Berg, founded in 1938, known for their ginormous donuts and their cinnamon rolls, and they get busy quick. You got to show up early in the morning. There's no frills, old-fashioned, nostalgic. You got to know what you want when you go in. They don't mess around. You order. And it's a place known for filling up the steel mill worker's belly back in the day with a lot of coffee. Another place that sells out really quick and they don't have that very limited hours is Better Made Donut Company in Crafton Heights. They've been in business for over 50 years. They've got a lot of varieties of cakes and donuts. And they line up early too. They get busy quick and they sell out fast. They sell about 80 dozen of donuts, 80 dozen donuts a day within hours. There's an honorable mention for Max's Donut Shop in Aliquippa because they've been around since 1958. And what's special about them is they're one of those generational bakeries. We're talking either fourth or fifth generational family business, baking cakes and selling donuts for a long time. They have that classic glazed donut. But the King of Kings, when you come to the Berg, the King of Kings, and they've worked hard, and they're a family-owned bakery. They put a lot of work into to where they are today is Oakmont Bakery, and they've been around since the 1970s. And they have so many varieties. I mean, you go in there, you're just overwhelmed with donuts and fritters and cakes and all sorts of varieties and very large scale operation now, but still has that neighborhood comfy feeling when you go in. Now, down here in the Carolinas in the South, we have Duck Donuts. And when you go to Pittsburgh, there's something that's very similar, reminds me of Duck Donuts, is the Peace, Love, and Little Donuts down there in the Strip District that specializes in these small, very intricate donuts with creative toppings like, the Fruity Pebbles, and you got that maple bacon, that You know, the maple bacon, that's something that Duck Donuts also has. Now, what's special about Oliver's Donuts in Lawrenceville, they've only been around since 2021 at Lawrenceville Market House, but they specialize in these sour cream cake donuts, and they're made with organic, locally milled flour. They have a signature huckleberry donut with lemon glaze and vanilla glazed options, and they have a lot of fresh flavors. They also offer the vegan options. As we wrap up, we're going to bring it full circle. We're going to bring it back to the old country, the Dutch settlers of the 17th century, bringing those oily cakes to New Amsterdam, which is now New York, where you had those balls of sweetened dough, fried in pork fat, filled with nuts and fruits. You can find a little bit of that history, those local ingredients at farm markets and the surviving farms in the surrounding Pittsburgh area. We could do a whole video on farms that have survived throughout the years. You can get apple cider donuts with the local cider made from local apples, regional apples at Apple Castle in New Wilmington. There's Sorgels up there in Wexford. You got donuts flavored with fall spices. At all these farmers markets, you can get Amish donuts, homemade and fresh. They won't last long. You got to eat them up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about the donut on Donut Day and all of the wonderful bakeries in the Pittsburgh area. Get out there, get a donut, get some coffee, do the dunk. And until next time, I'm Double AP and I'm out.